slightly different chance of maybe other legends coming into the equation. But it is going to be a big chance for Sparrow to be on our screens. He's going to be the next banned legend. 14 compositions featuring Sparrow in this game. So we're going to be seeing a lot of those survey beacons ripped with his dart. And then people maybe getting a little bit aggressive off the back of it.
Elsewhere, there's a Caustic in the lobby. Just the one. That's going to be RRX who are choosing Controller Legend to give them access to those ring consoles. Newcastle, no surprise, going to be a mainstay here for Furia as well after Keon's pop-off performance in that previous game at number 5. Elsewhere, a little bit of Wraith, a little bit of Fuse, Pathfinder, and some Catalyst, and also a Bangalore here for JDG.
7 Bangalores actually featuring in the lobby, which is quite a surprise. I think that Bangalore does start to come into the equation around maybe matches 7, 8, but a little bit earlier here in match 6 of our last chance lobby. As we're now into said lobby, the real question is, are we going to see any teams that have been struggling so far finally find some points?
Oh my.
You mentioned Furia. You mentioned Launchpad, and they don't know it yet, but we are going to be heading down towards this area.
We certainly are indeed. And how big could this zone be for Shopify Rebellion? Devastated Coast is their landing spot. They are right next to where this zone is going to be going. As you can see on your screens at home and in the arena, they had some very rough zones on Broken Moon. I need to highlight that. Had to traverse all the way across the map in maps 1 and 2 on a map which is so difficult sometimes to access zones in comparison to others. So this opportunity for Shopify Rebellion, and their fans will be willing and hoping they can make the most of it, is one that doesn't come along very often.
Worth knowing, both Shopify Rebellion and Furia need to get up to blues before they can hit a ring console, so they're going to probably be scrambling to try and find any Evo harvesters at the moment. They both do have survey beacons to work with as well for their extra Evo, but they probably will start to see the traffic begin to arrive. Orchid, Nemesis, and Gen G are all moving into that area of the map.
Or just a fight potentially breaking out here to highlight on the northern side of Storm Point here, and it's going to be between GG and Nose Fox, and you can see here that Funk is hitting some pretty nasty looking shots with that G7 Scout.
Nose Fox are struggling today. They have not really found anything, if at all. 6 points only, down in last position. Is this going to be the game where maybe they find something to give them a little bit of hope in this series?
One thing they have here is an armor advantage. You can see blues here for Noise Fox, and on the other side, you've got GG, who are only on the whites at the moment. And should they have the opportunity to push, they should, and I say should, have the HP required to get the job done here. But Blast are taking control of this big rock. And with a 30-30 in his hands, he can turn this fight very quickly in the favor of GG.
Yeah, there was a couple of cracks from GG, and you've got to be careful. You don't want to give too much damage to them, otherwise they might be on blue shortly as well, as Funk already has found himself onto blue, but now Noah's Fox have got a crack. Will that lead to a push here? These nades could be big.
Oh, they're going to push off the back of it. They try and smoke Blast off. The smoke isn't very good, though, from Leica, and has to just back up here and pop a shield battery. Bangalore is going to go down as well. Well, that was an opening. That was an opportunity. If that smoke hits the top, completely takes out the player on height, then this fight's a bit easier. But now they have the chance to cut a couple of players down on the cross here. Tatsuki's got to be so careful.
Does have his ult as well if he wants to try and use it. If they do find themselves in a kind of squished area, GG, they might find a Stinger Bolt arriving at their feet. But this is a lot of utility used by Noah's Fox. But there's an isolated fight. No one else is in the area.
Taking control of this height is going to be so important. There is that Stinger Bolt, but it's going to be a defensive one here on the side of Gaming Gladiators, but there's also an offensive one here from Noah's Fox. White trying to find angles. It feels like nobody's really comfortable in this fight whatsoever. Can't find angles. Has to use his ultimate. Jumps into the void and puts that portal down to just get out of the fight. Now Suzuki can swing on Blast, jumps into the portal at the last second, but this should be the signal to go here for NF.
Well, but look at that. Funk's found an angle, Funk's found a position and taken down Rufa.
Rufa goes down and Funk has just turned single-handedly this fight back in the favor of GG. The damage was done, and now the escape looks like it's the only option. Funk gets cracked. That's going to let Leica just hit this, but is he going to be able to land here, or is he going to get taken down mid-air? Oh, they're landing. JD is still in wall here. This could be horrible. for Noah's Fox.
Yeah, JD Gaming are still going to be looting at walls, so Noah's Fox may just run into another squad here, but importantly for GG and their chances of getting to match point finals is they did survive that fight. Despite being at an armor disparity, they were able to do work thanks to Funk, really, with the angle he was able to get.
One thing I would love to know is if Shopify Rebellion had a ring console down at Devastated Coast, because they are still down at Devastated Coast, whether they're relying on the zone pulling their way, or if they've just been cut short and not been able to hit a ring console. We can't quite see on our map overhead at the moment. As we check in with Team Orchid, this is happening in the red tunnel underneath where this zone is going to be going over at Launchpad. AG on the other side.
AG taking a lot of damage, and Team Orchid are going to try and push up onto this one because Dropped is already down, and AG may be sitting ducks, but they do have defensive abilities here.
Skill Case gets one. And in the back, Nemesis also from a distance getting involved with this as Zap is taken down. Skill Case is going to try and stick this res. Should have just about enough cover as Orchid will also retreat. Looks like both teams have decided, you know what? Call it a draw for now. Some
nervy fights happening already here in match 6. We are starting to feel the weight on the shoulders of these players as we get towards the end of this series. Malsworth just having a little look. Maybe we could pop in and find remnants of what was left over in that fight.
Just a little extension there from Mouse to see if the opportunity, like you say, was there to pick up some KP. AG managed to reset, though, in that red tunnel. AG now relocate underneath the main structure here. As you can see on your screen, respawn building here in Launchpad. They'll be safe for now. Another wall goes down.
20 squads still left. Only one player been taken out of this lobby so far. And remember, that was Noah's Fox, but they might be getting him back on his feet very shortly as they're still in the zone, as are Gaming Gladiators, the team that we're fighting against. Everyone else pretty much found their way here to the southeast.
In contact with enemy.
But it doesn't look like it's going to pull as much to Devastated Coast. Instead, closer to Launchpad.
Does look like it's going up a bit north, and I mentioned how Shopify Rebellion have prior to zone. Well, still waiting to see on our map overhead if they had a ring console, or if a little bit of RNG not going their way has hurt them, or if this is just how they wanted and where they wanted to play from, to hold out all these teams rotating on the southern side, pick up those KP, and then use that hill to work in a little bit later on. Shopify, of course, will have to go into the comms a little bit later on after the game to see what the game plan was, but interested to see how their game actually develops from this point.
Because of the amount of Sparrow in the lobby, it's so difficult to see ring consoles and survey beacons on our map overhead, because there's just so many darts scattered across the map. I definitely know they had a survey beacon, but I can't confirm whether they had a ring console or not. Either way, they still find themselves in Dev Coast, and they're going to have to push a little bit further north. But Furia, for example, in a better position, and those teams that have actually found themselves on Launchpad, maybe even an even better spot.
Team Liquid right at the back of Launchpad. We'll have to move, you would imagine, as this zone starts to crawl away from them. It doesn't go deep enough towards the Prowler nest behind them to really think that this is going to be an end zone building. So this is a temporary residence here for Team Liquid. 27 points on the board at the moment, 11th place overall, outside of the qualification spots for Matchpoint Finals.
Just to reiterate how disappointing it would be for all of these teams, for any of these players, if they do not make Matchpoint Finals. We already had to say goodbye to 6 teams already over the last couple of days, but we have to say goodbye to another 14. And it is going to truly be heartbreaking for these teams that prepare for these moments. They want to get into those Matchpoint Finals and consider themselves the best of the best.
Well, you mentioned Noah's Fox. Well, Arufus not back in the game. And our Katsira are looking for these players. I'm pretty sure they know they're somewhere about. But with the zone closing, maybe their hand's going to be a little bit forced here as to rotate instead of looking for those KP.
Over there.
He just scans a little package on his way through, get a few more Evo points. And the zip line will take them towards the safety where that zone's going to be going.
They have spotted one member of Noah's Fox.
Yeah,
they have split up.
That arrow gave them away a little bit.
Both players decided they would take separate routes just to try and play the survival game here, and then whoever does survive maybe can craft both teammates back in. Such a difficult game when you have to try and play the rat race of avoiding all of gunfire and then hoping to find a crafter as well. It's still not over for Noah's Fox. 20th place, though. They need something big if they're going to find themselves back into the series.
ALGS in 5th place overall at the moment. Probably looking over their shoulders a little bit instead of looking forward. Don't want to be falling out of that position. Elsewhere, Evos at the moment taking a fight, and this is going to be one that's heavily going their way. RRX eliminated. Completely isolated outside of Pylon, but this is a tough rotate they're going to have to make now over that hillside with so many teams already over at Launchpad and even in the buildings just to the right-hand side that they'll look at as they go over this hill. Trying to look at the utility. Is there an option of an evac tower for them to hit a little bit later? But at least they got some KP on the board, and that means points.
ALGS will find themselves in zone. They're still just double-checking to see if those stragglers from Noah's Fox are going to be arriving behind them, but again, they are taking various different directions to try and get into zone. Gaming Gladiators are ahead of ALGS, and they have now spotted them as they take a couple of pop shots.
Elsewhere, by the way, Shopify Rebellion are making a rotate towards zone. Portal has gone down for them. Furia are going to grab a mythic bin right in the center of zone. So that's going to be great for them. As we take a look at some of the situations, and the situation report, should I say, momentum in this lobby. Kill leaders on the left-hand side of your screen. They're the hot players right now.
Top weapons as well, as expected. The R99, Devotion, Havoc, all up there. It has been a lot more of the close-range weapons, rather so than the 30-30 appearing with the kills, and I think that's because we've seen a lot more close-range fights, a lot of teams just committing to zone, and not as many long-distance fights.
GG now make their way towards zone. I think they're looking to take this fight against ALGS, who are currently getting a little bit of a pinch. Devo's good enough for Light to get some damage down and pick up 2 of those kills. Now it's about finding the final one. ALGS will be eliminated. Aku from Mouse, he'll find one himself. Light now needs to be careful. Jumps into the void. And should be able to get back to relative safety here. Oh, maybe not. Careful, Light.
Looking back over at the Launchpad hot zone where all these teams committed early, they're all going to have to move away from this spot because we are actually moving back down a little further south, which is great news for the likes of Shopify Rebellion, who are still on the Dev Coast side of things. You can see Leica's just gone down in the kill feed, but Noah's Fox did find a crafter, but I think they're going to be too late to actually craft all 3 of them back up again.
This bridge position is going to be so valuable. Furia control the high ground here. You can see there's teams falling in and around them. Crazy Raccoon being one of those teams. Sentinels down on that low ground as well as E36 look to move in. And look at how easy these shots are going to be for a player of the caliber of Nox. Even with the Devo in his hand, he's got a 1-2, and you know he's going to be able to pepper them.
As a red armor as well to work with, as Noah's Fox finally do get taken down. Sadly, their journey of trying to survive is big failure, to be honest, as GG also taking a fight as well. It's going to be AG involved in that one. There's a lot of teams involved in that fight over towards Launchpad.
Fury have a really good opportunity here. With the zone pulling where it is and the control they have of this high ground space to think about potentially going back-to-back here. Got a replay of the fight we saw between GG and ALGS, which ended up in ALGS being eliminated from this lobby as we go back into the live game. And check in with all gamers who we saw having a reset a little bit earlier on, and Skill Cakes, he smells blood here, or maybe he smells a situation that it doesn't smell as good as he thought it did.
Yeah, gets an armor check and sees a red. They did do a lot of damage to Blast prior. That's why they were trying to see if they could maybe finish off the damage they had done. Sentinels have also just lost a player as well. A few of these teams are getting players knocked, but no one's really in the area to maybe convert these kills because everyone's so close together. If you try and commit to converting to any of them, you are offering up either A, your space, and someone might take it off you, or potentially getting third party.
Gamers looking for a pick onto GG here. The GG are going to have to move, as are AG in a few moments' time. Zone closes in around 30 seconds here, and everybody on your screen will not survive if they stay where they are. That zone is going to force them in.
The final circle, by the way, no one is within it at the moment. As Skill Cakes just having to take out the Stinger Bolt as Team Liquid get eliminated in 16th position.
Scary times for them.
Zap will just portal the rest of the team out, but there was a push from the portal. He needs to help his team.
Needs to get behind that shield. Needs to have an opportunity to hit that battery. Light though! Don't worry about batteries. He's hitting triple take shots and he is dropping bodies.
Was there a chance that the rest of the AG squad could have followed that? Did he need to come back? Did he port too early? There's also Shopify Rebellion in the kill feed against NRG on the eastern side. Now all these teams that are on the south, they did find themselves on the right side of the zone pool, also trying to scrap for any spare room really in this area.
Twisted Mind's in a little bit of trouble on that low ground. Lots of shots coming in, but the kill feed stays silent for now. As I say that, Twisted Mind do lose one. Albrelli tries to jump up to pressure Furia away. But it's not with that Devo who manages to convert one of those opportunities to strike into some shots. Elsewhere, Sentinels just got absolutely bombarded by grenades. As Evos will take them out, and surely Twisted Minds will be next. Shopify Rebellion, eliminate. Mal's gone. Orchid gone as well. Everybody is falling.
Yeah, there was a huge fight on the eastern side between NRG and Shopify Rebellion. NRG winning it and taking one of the best positions on the map now and maybe setting themselves up for a potential top 3 minimum. Twisted Minds down to just Enemy as another player falls, and it looks like Enemy's going to be the next to go. 9 squads now left.
Fury is still controlling this high ground. You can now see why we were trying to highlight to you how valuable this high ground position can be. Not just for positioning, not just for placement, but the kills that fall your way with everybody rotating from the launch pad side. Kaisha goes down as well. Remix Power's last alive. It's a 1v1 in this situation. YC gets caught in the cat spikes. Has to retreat here. Drops the bang ult. No smokes available. Will not be able to survive. Nemesis will move in and pick up some KP.
Evos do find themselves again just below the framework here, but there is going to be Nemesis above them. I don't think they know that Evos are there just yet, but certainly Gen G do. It's Gen G peppering Evos at the moment from a distance. The Nemesis have done well just to stay healthy here, but they have to move. Round 5's closing.
Gen G Clutch just got a portal down. You can see he's just going to be playing this corner, trying to find an area where they can just deny LOS from some teams around them for long enough to get healthy and then turn the attention back towards Nemesis. Nemesis get the catwalk down, but not without losing one. Now they lose 2, and it's Gen G who are doing the damage, and Go Next will wrap behind Evos.
There's so many teams in bad positions right now. Everyone instead is looking towards this fight. Potential KP, points that can maybe get you closer to the top 6.
And NRG is still alive and controlling so much space in where this end zone is going to be. Go Next. How they need points. Nemesis will be eliminated. As now we find ourselves with 7 squads. Knuckle Cluster goes in, knockdown destroyed. And maybe the hopes of Evos as well.
Good damage again from Force 36. 9th position in the moment. Should be able to get the res. Will get the res. Helped by another squad as well. Force 36 needs to keep moving forward.
The problem is they have to go forward and there's just people waiting for them. Go Next, say you're next to end of Force 36.
And Go Next did so well to find that corner. 5 squads now remain. They are avoiding the damage of this Stinger Bolt. They are just healing through the Stinger Bolt at this point. But we still have NRG who are controlling so much of this room, so much of this space as Gen G get taken down. Now we're down to 4.
Down to 4. GG down to 1, by the way. NRG full 3. Go Next full 3. Furia full 3. But GG, the solo has gone as we find ourselves in a shootout. A 3v3 between Furia and NRG. Furia have the opportunity to go back-to-back. NRG have the chance to put their second win on the board.
Yeah, 2 giants in this lobby. And of course, 2 giants of the Americas. This one arguably means more to NRG though, because they're a little bit lower down. Currently they find themselves in 6th.
I was going to say NRG, they have zone.
One key difference here, Furia running Newcastle. That could play a part.
Raps now coming in from Furia. They get the damage down. They're trying to take some space away. Gil's going to pop, or try and pop. Himself a medkit. Sykes goes down. Gil wins his 1v1. Flying in is Gil, but the mobile shield goes down. It's Madness last alive. Last chance for Furia to succeed, but it's NRG who get their second win here in the last chance. How much could that mean? Well, you can see it on the faces of NRG.
On the farewell tour.